to talk to you about recognizing arguments. What is an argument? An argument is a set of claims. Also, argument is an attempt to persuade someone of something. Arguments consist of a conclusion and one or more premises. Premises are statements presented in an argument as evidence or reasons why we should accept another statement known as the conclusion. Premises serve to provide a foundation for the argument's claim. Conclusion is a claim that is supported by several premises. Four things about statements. A sentence can consist of more than one expression. For example, roses are red and violets are blue. There are two expressions in the sentence. First one is roses are red and second one is violets are blue. A statement can be expressed as a phrase or incomplete clause. He acted without any hesitation. Here, many clauses he acted. Incomplete clauses without any hesitation. Actually, this sentence is he didn't hesitate. Not all sentences convey an assertion or denial. Can you get me some dessert on your way, please? It's a recused sentence. Follow me. Comment, there is no assertion in these sentences. Statement can be about both objective and subjective topics. I didn't go to school because of my illness. Maybe I didn't. This is a statement because it's either true or false. Some sentences look like they are not statements, but they are actually statements. A rhetorical question. The purpose of such statements is not to ask questions, but to make claims. Its purpose may be to emphasize a point, prompt the audience to consider a topic. For example, are you really going to let this opportunity slip away? The purpose of this sentence is to emphasize the importance of this opportunity rather than receiving an answer. Odd imperative. Such sentences are expressed in imperative mood, but the purpose is to indicate whether something is good or bad. Don't listen to her. She wants to you feel bad. You shouldn't listen to her because she wants to you feel bad. Here it means recommendation rather than comment. Identifying premises and conclusions. Premise indicators provides clues when determining premises and conclusions. For example, I didn't go to work because I fell asleep and I was bored of sitting at home, so I went for a walk. These words are not always indicators. We haven't seen her since we graduated. In this sentence, the meaning of since is not because and is used in a grammatical context. Many arguments contain no indicator words at all. So how do we find the conclusion of sentence? Firstly, find the main issue and look at the beginning or end of the passage. Ask yourself, what is the writer or speaker trying to prove? That will be the conclusion. Put therefore in front of the expression, and if it makes sense, it can be a conclusion. Try the because trick. The conclusion will naturally come to before the word because. 5 types of non-argumentative discourse. Reports, unsupported assertions, conditional statements, illustrations, and explanation. Firstly, reports means to convey information. At the same time, quoting someone else's argument is not an argument. Unsupported assertions. These assertions are not connected to any claims or premises. For example, I think that cats are the best pets. They are just so much better than dogs in every way. Dogs are too noisy and needy. Expresses a personal opinion that cats are superior to dogs as pets. While the speaker offers their opinion, there is no logical structure or evidence provided to support this assertion. Conditional statements. A conditional statement is an if-then statement. If the passes the exam, he will graduate. There are two expressions in the sentence. He passes the exam and he will graduate. The statements do not make a claim. It shows that if the first statement is true, the second statement will be true. Other example is, if my house was bigger than my brother's house, and if my brother's house was bigger than my mother's, then my house would be bigger than my mother's. In this example, it's clear that I have come to a conclusion, but there is no argument because no idea is put forward about whether the statements are true or not. As in the first example, there is another statement that is true provided that one of them is true. The purpose is to exemplify rather than prove. Many people play instruments to relax, so my friend played an instrument when he was in high school. There is no result here, just an example suitable for the expression is given. Explanation means to make an expression clear, not proving. To understand whether the expression is an argument or a statement. You can do this. If it's an argument, what is the conclusion? Then determine whether the author is trying to prove something or is explaining the statement so you can understand it. For example, lesson time should be shortened because it reduces students' productivity. In the sentence, the author statement starting with because supports the part that class time should be shortened. Therefore, this sentence is not a statement but an argument. He woke up late because he forgot to set an alarm. There is no argument in this sentence. The writer is trying to explain the reason for waking up late. Distinguish arguments from explanation. There are 4 basic tests. The first one, the common knowledge test. It's not logical to try to prove information that's accepted by everyone. This information has already been accepted and become common knowledge. So what is happening here is to explaining that information. For example, Titanic sank because it hit an iceberg. It's a fact known to everyone that the Titanic sank. The aim is not to prove that it sank, but to explain why it sank. Second one, the past event tests. Generally, when talking about a past event, we make a statement about the event and do not try to prove it. For example, he went to sleep early yesterday because he was very tired. The purpose of this sentence is not to prove that he went to sleep early, but to explain why he went to sleep early. Third one, the author's intent test. If the author provides reasons to prove something, it's an argument, but if the author explains why something is the way it's explanation. For example, he wants to retire because he wants to get away from this city. The author doesn't want to prove that he wants to retire. Instead, he explains why he wants to retire and says he wants to get away from city. The last one, the principle of charity, demands that one interprets a speaker's statement in the most rational way possible. For example, Jeremy won't come to the frat party tonight because he has an important exam tomorrow. When we examine the example, there's no general information or explanation about the event, and it's not very clear to understand the other intention. If we assume this is an argument, we cannot say anything, define it, because it will be difficult to establish a connection between the expressions. In this case, we need to evaluate the situation as the last principle.